Hare Krishna. So, if you remember, yesterday we started discussing introduction section of Nectar of Devotion, and in that we see that how Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada is praying to his predecessors like Srila Sanatana Goswami and asking for their mercy, asking that even though I am ignorant, Agya, but still by the mercy of Sri Sanatan, this treatise or this book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, will give him pleasure. And also we saw that how in the beginning of the book, Srila Rupa Goswami is defining Lord Sri Krishna as to be Bhakti Rasamrita Murti. He is the personification of Bhakti Rasa. Supreme Lord is personification of Bhakti Rasa. And being so, he has attracted different gopis and he has subjugated different kinds of gopis. And also, let's call him. Sorry. So we saw that Bhakti Rasamrita Murti, Supreme Lord is called to Bhakti Rasamrita Murti. Akhil Rasamrita Murti. Rasmara Ruchira, Ruddha Tarka Pali, Kalita Shama Lalito, Radha Priyan Vidurjay. So then after that we saw that how Krishna is embodiment of all the rasas. So starting from Santarasa, there are 5 primary rasas and there are 7 secondary rasas. We discuss those rasas, right? Little bit. So primary rasas are Santa, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, and 7 secondary rasas are comedy, compassion, fear, chivalry, ghastliness, wonder, and devastation. So there are all 12 rasa in which Krishna is reciprocated through the love of his devotees. So the first sloka he tells like this means he is setting the scene that what's going to come in nectar of devotion. Right, before starting a movie, the movie maker releases teaser, then trailer, right? So that people get attracted toward okay, what's going to come in the movie, right? Similarly, at the beginning of Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami is giving this hint at what's going to come in the whole Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, who is destroyer of all sin and bestower of bliss, the immortal embodiment of all rasas, Akhil Rasamrita Murti. He excels all others in glory. He brings Tarka and Palika under his control by diffusion of his beauty. He accepts Syamala and Lalita as his own, and he abundantly pleases Radha. So then we saw that the ocean of nectar of devotion was described, right? So it was described that there are 4 sections of nectar of devotion, ocean of nectar of devotion, right? 4 division, starting from eastern division, and after that eastern, western, northern, southern, and we are currently going to eastern division, right? So eastern division having 4 waves, 4 lahari. So this eastern division is 4 lahari. What are the 4 lahari of this ocean of nectar of devotion? First one is there is general description of devotion service, then devotion service in practice, sadhana bhakti, then Bhava Bhakti, and then Prema Bhakti. So there are four waves of the first part of the ocean of nectar of devotion. Okay, so then we are going to begin with text 11, where Uttama Bhakti is characterized by Acharyas. Okay, this devotion service is a sort of cultivation. It is not simply inaction for people who like to be inactive or devote their time for silent meditation. There are many different methods for people who want this, but cultivation of Krishna consciousness is different. The particular word used by Sri Goswami in this connection is anushilana, or cultivation by following the predecessor teachers, acharyas. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Without activity, consciousness alone cannot help us. All activities may be divided into two classes. One class may be for achieving certain goal, and other may be for avoiding some unfavorable circumstance. In Sanskrit, these activities are called pravritti and nivritti, positive and negative action. There are many examples of negative actions. For instance, a diseased person has to be cautious, and take medicine in order to avoid some unfavorable illness. So Srila Prabhupada is telling that this bhakti devotion service is a type of cultivation. Anushilanam. So this is Anushilanam. This is the sloka. We can recite it together. Very important sloka and very famous one. 111. An abhilasita shunyam
अन्नाभिलाषितशून्यम्
ज्ञान कर्मादि अनावृतम
ज्ञानकर्मादि
ज्ञानकर्मादि
अनावृतम्
अनावृतम्
आनुकूल्येन कृष्णानुशीलनम्
आनुकूल्येन
आनुकूल्येन
कृष्णान्
कृष्णानुशीलनम्
कृष्णानुशीलनम्
भक्तिरुत्तमा.
भक्तिरुत्तमा
भक्तेरुत्तमा
Very nice. So Uttama Bhakti is defined here. Highest class of Bhakti. So the highest Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti, is defined as continuous service to Krishna. It's active service. Anushilana means a cultivation, active service. Right? It's not just Bhakti Bhav and doing nothing. There is activity involved. Like people in villages, you tell them that, Prabhu, why don't you chant? They will say, अरे भक्ति हृदय में है ना, भक्ति हृदय में है. So I don't need to chant because भगवान तो सबके हृदय में है, मेरे भी तो भक्ति है. So Uttama Bhakti is not that. Uttama Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. There is a continuous service, active service. That's what Srila Prabhupada is writing here. You see here, devotion service is sort of cultivation. It's not an inaction for people who like to be inactive or devote their time to silent meditation. So it's a cultivation, sort of cultivation. With a pleasing attitude, with a pleasing attitude. Anushilanam, Krishna Anusilanam, in a pleasing attitude. It should be devoid of desires other than desire to please the Lord. Anavilasita Shunyam. Right? Anavilasita Shunyam. The desire which is contrary to the desire of pleasing the Lord is Shunya, is zero, and obstructed by impersonal jnana, unobstructed by impersonal jnana, and materialistic rituals of karma or other unfavorable acts. Yeah. Having other desires. Annavilasita. Shunya. Jnana Karmadhi Anamrita. So Anamritam is not covered, uncovered. है ना? Asla Bhakti is a entity which was covered by the cloths of karma and jnana, and one by one the karma and jnana covering has been removed from the entity called Uttama Bhakti. So then what remains? That's pure devotion service, Uttama Bhakti. And Anukulyana, it should be for the pleasing attitude. Pleasing attitude for whom? Pleasing attitude for Krishna. Not like, oh, I am pleased, then Krishna is pleased. It's other way actually. Krishna is pleased. For the pleasure of Krishna, pure devotion services. भगवान की प्रसन्नता के लिए, right? अनुकूलेन Krishna, right? Not anukulena mama. Anushilanam, constant service. Bhakti Uttama, so highest type of devotion service. So here, this is this 2-3 paragraph. This has been taken in the from the nectar of devotion. The 2-3 paragraph, quite big. So we'll see that. The first class devotion service known by one's tendency to fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, serving the Lord favorably. The purport is that one may also be in Krishna consciousness unfavorably, but that cannot be counted as pure devotion service. Pure devotion service should be free from the desire for any material benefit for sense gratification, as these desires are cultivated through fruitive activities and philosophical speculation. Generally, people are engaged in different activities to get some material profit, while most philosophers are engaged in proposing transcendental realization through volumes of word jugglery and speculation. Pure devotion service must always be free from such fruitive activities and philosophical speculation. One has to learn Krishna consciousness, pure devotion service from the authorities by spontaneous loving service. So, it's clear that pure devotion service is Krishna, Anukuliyana Krishna. It should be favorable to Krishna. Krishna consciousness should be favorable to Krishna. Like we see, it's mentioned here that Anya Avilasita Shunyam. There is no other desire, but always thinking about Krishna. But unfavorably, that's not good. Like Shishupal, always thinking about Krishna, but his devotion service was not favorable. And Kans, always thinking about Krishna, but out of fear from Krishna. Right? So, what is required? Devotion service should be done for the pleasure of Krishna. That's important. And while doing so, this jnana and karma covering should be taken out. What is a karma covering? Karma covering is that while performing devotion service, what I will be getting. मुझे, how much I will get sense gratification, right? How much benefit I will get. Just like in beginning of Krishna consciousness, we seldom tell devotees that by chanting the holy name, you will get such and such material benefits. Like your mind get focused, you, and so many things we say, right? Your health will be good. You will have nice, you know, ojas. That also we say sometimes. You feel happy, right? But in the true sense, when we understand pure devotion service, then the purpose of performing pure devotion service becomes just to please Krishna. Any activity we do for the pleasure of Krishna, not considering that what benefit I am going to get. Right? So that's what is called covering of karma. This karma covering has to be removed. And jnana covering has to be removed also. What is the jnana covering? Like what, like I will get liberated and this thing. I'll get love. I will get, I will get home back to Godhead. Right? This material world is filled with dukkha, sansar, dukkha, lemashans. That's good. In the beginning, jnana is required because we are into so much of illusory energy. That in the beginning, this jnana is required. But later on, when somebody matures in devotional service, this jnana is also not so important, not important at all. Just like taking out one uh, prick from another prick, like कांटे से कांटा निकालना. When if you go to Navadvip Parikrama or most often Jagannath Puri Parikrama. While going to Puri Parikrama, there are sandy beaches. There are so many thorny bushes, and when they get dried out, they get mixed with the sand. And when you walk upon those sands, those bushes having the thorns, that will get pricked in you. But to remove this prick, the thorns which has got stuck in your feet, you need another thorn to get it out. Similarly, in beginning of Krishna consciousness, we say all these things. That you will get this benefit, that you will go home back to Godhead, this and that. But in the pure devotion service, it actually has nothing to do with all these things. Pure devotion service, you have only one thing to do. That is pleasure of Krishna. Whether you are in a spiritual world or whether you are in material world. That's why such pure devotees, they hardly care whether they are in Goloka or whether they are in this material world. Guna pravaho etasmin. Ka sargo, ka punarva. What is heaven? What is liberation? Bhagavad Sangi Sangasya. Then similarly, Vritrasu, Chitraketu Maharaj tells, Narayana Parayana, Na Kutashana Bhibhati, Sargapavarga Narkeshu, Apitullartha Darshini. Whether Swarga or whether Naraka or whether Golok Vrindavan. It is same for the devotee because wherever he is performing his devotional service for the pleasure of the Lord and is perfectly situated in that situation. So we will go to this. So we can read from there.
Those who are cultivating spiritual.
That's right. Those who are cultivating. पढ़िए.
Acha. Those who are cultivating spiritual life and executing devotional service are always engaged in activity. Such activity can be performed with the body or with the mind. Thinking, feeling, and willing are all activities of the mind. And when we will to do something, the activity comes to be manifest by the gross bodily senses. Thus, in our mental activities, we should always try to think of Krishna and try to plan how to please him, following in the footsteps of the great acharyas and the personal spiritual master. There are activities of the body, activities of the mind, activities of the speech. A Krishna conscious person engages his words in preaching the glories of the Lord. This is called kirtana. And by his mind, a Krishna conscious person always thinks of activities of the Lord as he is speaking. Let's scroll down. As he is speaking on the battlefield of the Kurukshetra or engaging in his various pastimes in Vrindavana with his devotees. In this way, one can always think of the activities and the pastimes of the Lord. This is the mental culture of Krishna consciousness.
Some other devotee can read. Thank you so much, Prasanna Prabhu.
Similarly, we can offer many services with our bodily activities. But all such activities must be in relationship with Krishna. This relationship is established by connecting oneself with the bona fide spiritual master, who is the direct representative of Krishna in disciplic succession. Therefore, the execution of Krishna consciousness activities with the body should be directed by the spiritual master and then performed with faith. The connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. From the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed. This cultivation of Krishna consciousness is not material. The Lord has three general energies, namely the external energy, the internal energy, and the marginal energy. The living entities are called marginal energy, and the marginal cosmic manifestation is the action of the external or material energy. Then there is the spiritual world, which is a manifestation of the internal energy. The living entities, who are called marginal energy, perform material activities when acting under the inferior external energy, and when they engage in activities under the internal spiritual energy, their activities are called Krishna consciousness. This means that those who are great souls or great devotees do not act under the spell of material energy, but act instead under the protection of the spiritual energy. Any activities done in devotional service or in Krishna consciousness are directly under the control of spiritual energy. In other words, energy is a sort of strength, and this strength can be spiritualized by the mercy of both the bona fide spiritual master and Krishna.
Thank you so much, Sumati Prabhu. So, what Srila Prabhupada is telling that how this cultivation can be taken place. How cultivation takes place? By utilizing three things. What are those three things? Very clear.
Unwilling thinking
Huh?
and willing thinking and
Willing thinking.
feelings.
You're close by. There are three things in our system, right? Mind, speech, and the body, right? For the speech, tongue, we have different, like, from the tongue, what we can do, we can eat, we can speak, and from the body, we can do different activities. And with the mind, we can think so many activities. But Krishna conscious cultivation is done through this karmana manasa vacha. Ihayasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira. Karmana means by our bodily activities. Manasa means mind. And gira means this faculty of speech. So, Srila Prabhupada is writing that this cultivation has to be done in three ways. By getting the instructions of a spiritual master, one engages in devotion service, active devotion service. Like, could you tell some of the services which are done through body by action?
Deity worship,
Deity worship, very nice.
bhog offering,
Bhoga offering, yeah.
doing seva,
Doing seva,
Ram
book
Sankirtan,
distribution, Nam Sankirtan, yes. And
cleaning.
cleaning seva, correct? All these things are required action, bodily action required, right? So, of course, all these things, bodily action is required. At the same time, vacha is also required. Like vacha, how we can engage vacha in service means the faculty of speech,
Ram Sankirtan, preaching to college
announcing,
students.
calling to college boys, yeah, and chanting the names of Hare Krishna with them. That is also vacha, right?
Writing prayers.
Chanting prayers, very nice. And manasa, what is manasa? How mind could be engaged in Krishna's service?
By Smaranam.
By thinking about Krishna, yeah, Smaranam. Thinking
Plans
about,
on
huh?
making plans on how to do service or teaching.
Making plan. Yeah, making plan of doing services. That's also putting the intelligence in the service. When we say mind, mind constitutes intelligence also, false ego also, and chitta also. Then mind takes care of all those three more subtle elements. So in this way, mind is also involved. But in fact, Krishna consciousness means mind is always involved, whether we are doing physical activity or not. Right? Like suppose when we are chanting, then if our mind is not involved, then we can say that, oh, I'm just chanting with my mouth. There is no requirement of physical activity. So sit down and just chant. But mind is not involved, then chanting will become offensive. Yes, no. So in any service, mind is involved. Actually, mind is supposed to be involved. So in this way, devotees they engage into cultivation of Krishna consciousness through these three faculties of manasa, vacha, and karmana. Karmana, manasa, vacha. So, but this devotional service is started by Diksha, through Diksha. Because at the time of Diksha, a disciple accepts a spiritual master, and through a spiritual master, he accepts Krishna to be his eternal master. Right? At the time of Diksha, the disciple or the jiva does Atma Samarpana. Atma Samarpana means he tells that from today onwards, my body, my speech, and my mind belongs to you, Krishna. Right? This is called Atma Samarpana. Right? Whatever you will say, that I will do. So he surrenders, and Krishna accepts him. Yes, you are not different from my body. दीक्षा काले शिष्य करे आत्म समर्पण सही काले कृष्ण करे तार आत्म सम. So from the time of Diksha, this connection is established, and in this connection, devotees or disciples or the jiva performs devotional service in the Sambandha Gyan with Krishna through Guru. So whenever he does service, is service done through Sambandha Gyan. I am doing this service to Krishna through my spiritual master. So when the Sambandha Gyan is there, then this devotional service is, even though seemingly it looks like material activity, it's no more material activity. It is directly done in the realm of internal potency of Krishna. Right? There are three potencies of Krishna that we know. What are those three potencies?
Internal potency, internal potency, and marginal.
Very nice. So internal, external, and marginal potency. And Jiva is in marginal potency. So Jiva is practically in marginal potency, being marginal potency. He is thrown into this external energy of the Lord, Maya. And here he is just loosened and doing all different types of activities. But when he gets connected with Sri Guru and gets Sambandha Gyan that who I am in relation with Krishna, then he starts activity right here in this being in the material world. And those activities, even though performed apparently in this material world, but actually is not of the material world. Those activities is actually of spiritual world or internal potency. Right? Is there any uh, testimony of it that performance of devotional service when we do in the Sambandha Gyan with Krishna is of not of this material world? How can you say that? How can you prove it? Can anybody prove it? Haribo.
Like
Can any?
when
Yes, go ahead.
like we can take an example like when Maharaj did devotional service after getting the knowledge from Narad Muni, then Sambandha was established, and thus he was slowly and surely getting knowledge of while he was meditating, and all of his anarthas were slowly and slowly getting destroyed. And at the last, when Krishna prayed to give him darshan, then all of his anarthas were destroyed, and he was
Yeah.
so. So because the Sambandha was established by the guru, that was possible. But before that, even if he, because when Suniti Mata told that go to Lord and try to uh, meditate upon him, he also went to the uh, village forest, but only after Narad Muni, he encountered Narad Muni and accepted him as his spiritual master. Then only he was get.
Correct. Very nice. A wonderful example that you gave of Dhruva Maharaj, that after having gotten the connection with Krishna through initiation given by Narad Muni, he could do this devotion service, and he could realize he could get that great pleasure by having darshan of the Lord. He chants very uh, in ecstatic mood. He chants the prayers to the Lord, uh, and he tells that, "Oh Lord, where did I come here to get all these material assets? But I'm just gotten your darshan. It's just like getting diamonds. But I came for broken pieces of glass. I don't want these broken pieces of glasses." So like that he tells. And just by performing some devotional service and having darshan of the Lord, he is telling that all my body, everything gets rejuvenated. Anyam sahasta charano shravanatvagadin. Prana namo bhagavate purushaya tatvyam. So everything rejuvenated. That's what we see. So when devotees they come in Krishna consciousness, they perform loving devotional service to the Lord, their mind, their senses, everything gets rejuvenated. Before it was like dead, mara hua. When they come in devotional service, they become blissful, cheerful. The senses becomes rejuvenated back again, right? Yeah. How many of you got this type of experience from a devotional service where all the senses gets enlivened? I don't know whether you got it or not, but one must get it if somebody does loving devotional service. Very good example. Saurabh, Prabhu, you would like to say something?
Yes, bro. I just want to say like whoever is doing this devotional service, they become the Prasanna. Like they for the at the time of the distress or uh, happiness, they become the fixed. Okay, so it is like a spiritual nature. So they don't get bewildered at the time of the duality. So it is also the symptom of the we are staying in the material world, but we are not getting effect of this material thing. So it is uh, another
Very nice.
example.
So material world is and the spiritual world, there is a contrast difference, है ना? Material world is constituted of what? त्रिताप क्लेश, धात्मिक आदि भौतिक आदि दैविक क्लेश, and spiritual is made up of three shakti: samvit, sandhini, ahladini, satchidanand. Samvit means chit, sandhini means sat, and ahladini means ananda. So when somebody does devotion service, they feel that this tritapa is getting down, isn't it? Means tritapa is getting down means they are getting elevated from the uh, material world's symptoms, right? Adhyatmik, adi bhautik, adi daivik kleshas doesn't affect them, right? Even though they might be suffering, so-called having some disease, but you find into this real routine that these sufferings are really not given any much effect into their lifestyle or regular activity, and they have come to the platform of Satchidanand, right? They have got connected with the internal potency of Krishna, which constitutes of these three things: Sandhini, Samvita, and Ahladni. So this is what we see. Devotees are like that. So this is the testimony of even though being in this material world, they are fully in the sync with the spiritual kingdom of God by performing devotion service. So one more paragraph we'll read.
So there is one question about like bro, like the spiritual master initiation part was there after getting initiation he established the Sampanta Gyan. So similar was the case with Bilba Mangal Thakur also when the girl he accepted as a spiritual master. But if someone is not taking initiation, supposedly like Narad in his previous life when he met the Bhagavatas, but he didn't took initiation with from them. He just took their Vani and also the remnants, but he didn't took initiation. But still he get the ultimate. He ultimately is doing the best devotional service by getting devotional service every. But so, what is this like? Some for establishing Sambandha Gyan is initiation necessary or is it not?
Initiation means meeting with the spiritual master and getting the instructions, pertinent instructions in the connection with Krishna to perform devotion service. This is what initiation means. Initiation doesn't mean that no, there will be fire yajna and there will be om, swa, and so on and so forth. And actually, all these things have started recently by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Why? Because people could take it very sincerely to institutionalize the process of initiation. And previously it was not so. Previously, Guru is staying in Haridwar and maybe disciple is staying in Ujjain or maybe Gwalior, and both they meet somewhere in Vrindavan, and Guru tells the chant Hare Krishna. Finish. Initiation done. Right. So previously initiation was like that. But later on, this formalized concept of initiation was made so that people could make it very serious. Yes, and people could commit to the vows very nicely that yes, I got initiation. My spiritual master is such and such. I'm an initiated disciple of such and such spiritual master. My name is Phalana Phalana Das, Krishna Das, Nitai Das, or Nimai Das, whatever. So in this way, the formal initiation that took place, right? So main thing is that Krishna Diksha Kale Shisha Kare Atma Samarpana. So at the time of Diksha, a disciple takes complete shelter of Krishna. And having taken shelter of Krishna, through disciplic succession, uh, he accepts Diksha. Divya Gyan, Di for Divya Gyan, and Cha means Chapayati, Sarva Dukkhanam, Sarva Papanam, Chapayati. So at the time of Diksha, two things happens. The spiritual master gives Divya Gyan. Divya Gyan means you are eternal servant of Krishna. You doesn't belong to this material world. And your eternal constitutional position is to serve lovingly to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So this is Divya right? And as soon as he accepts this Divya and then he commits to chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Then all the sins immediately just gets incinerated, burns away. So these two things takes place at the time of Diksha. Right? So the connection is established with Krishna through a spiritual master by Divya and he is evaluated from all tritapas. Right? So that's what is Diksha. Is it clear, Prabhu?
Yes, bro. One more question is there, bro. Yes, like we are reading this so many scriptures and for so many classes. So what is the thing we should do after getting all the knowledge? Is it kirtana?
It's Kirtanam. Yeah, it is Kirtanam only. All this Navavida Bhakti, no? 9 types of devotional service. That's what is important. Navida Bhakti one should perform. In beginning of Krishna consciousness, Shravanam is more important, more prominent, not important, prominent. For the devotee, in beginning of Krishna consciousness, Shravanam is more prominent. Then he advances further, then increases his Kirtanam also. Right? Means he preaches, he glorifies the Lord. He like to glorify the Lord. Right? The Kirtanam takes more precedence. Of course, when Kirtanam is happening, then Shravanam is happening because of Kirtanam. Right? Unless somebody does Kirtanam, can Shravanam happen? Not. Or unless somebody does Shravanam, can he really do Kirtanam? Not. So ultimately, Sankirtanam, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam is the thing from where everything takes place. The Sankirtanam, somebody can hear. Somebody is doing Sankirtanam. That's why somebody is able to hear it. Right? Hearing is dependent on Sankirtan. And then he is able to remember also. Somebody is beautifully describing the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. How does he kill Putna and how this Putna is like imposter guru and that imposter guru should be removed from our life in the beginning of practicing devotion service. So beautiful description and devotees are here. But this beautiful description is Sankirtan. And because of that, one is able to do Shravanam. But for Shravanam, for new devotees, Shravanam is more prominent. One should hear. More. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells that when somebody comes to that platform called Shravana Dasha, in beginning of Krishna consciousness, that's called Shravana Dasha. After Shravana Dasha comes after attentive hearing for many years, then he comes to Varana Dasha. Yes, then he starts accepting what is being told. In beginning, somebody just hears from ISKCON and chala gaya from USKCON. But when somebody hears attentively, then he accepts that. Varan means accepts that, what is being told. He really accepts it, right? Like, how many classes it been told that you are eternal servant of Krishna? But we think, okay, we are eternal servant of Krishna, yet we are also the eternal servant of some of my bad habits. How can I give up that? I'm also eternal servant of this intoxication, or maybe servant of scrolling, maybe servant of Insta and Facebook and so on and so forth. So he's not really accepting it. Then he start accepting, yes, I'm eternal servant of Krishna, eternally, every moment. Then he comes to the platform of Varun and then when he hears like that, then he can chant nicely. Then he can glorify Krishna nicely. Then he can preach very nicely. So then he comes to the third platform called uh, Kirtanam. We cannot say Kirtanam, that's called Smaranam. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur put it like that. Shravanam Dasa, Varana Dasa, then third one is called Smaranavastha. Smaranavastha. Smarana Dasa. So this Smarana Dasa also having different different stages, I'll show you. Shravana Dasa. Yeah. We discussed it in Nectar of Instruction previously also. So it was in text, I think text 8. Text 8. In the neophyte stage, one should always engage in hearing Krishna Katha. This is called Shravana Dasa, the stage of hearing. By constantly hearing the transcendental holy names of Krishna and hearing of his transcendental form, qualities, and pastimes, one can attain to the stage of acceptance called Varanadasa. When one attains this stage, he becomes attached to the hearing of Krishna Katha. When one is able to chant in ecstasy, he attains the stage of Smaranavastha. So after Varanadasa, this comes the stage of remembering. And the stage of remembering is having this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages. Recollection, absorption, meditation, constant remembrance, anusmriti, and samadhi, trance. Recollection means sometimes remembering Krishna. Absorption means absorbed in remembering Krishna. Meditation means dhyana. Dhyana means constant, no, we cannot say constant remembrance, but some long duration of thinking about Krishna. It's called meditation. Constant remembrance means always thinking about Krishna. 24/7, almost 24/7. And then this gets intensified. Then one comes to the platform of trance, or samadhi. And Jiva gets his own form revealed at this particular platform of trance. That who is he in connection with Krishna, in fact. So these are the 5 items of progressive Krishna Smarana. And this Smaranavastha only he can chant, he can glorify Krishna, preach with great adherence and faith. So somewhere in between only there is Kirtanam also. But for beginners, beginning, we need to more focus upon Shravanam. Is it clear, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay, fine. So we'll keep it here. और किन्हीं का कुछ comment है?
So I have a question. Like, how will think? Like, how will get to know that this is the right time for my initiation?
Right time of initiation is that you should be having aspiration for initiation, that I must get initiated. It's not where somebody is pushing you to get initiated. You should have the hankering to get initiated and really start devotional service sincerely, seriously. That's the right time of your initiation, right? The क्या बोलते
And
हैं
how
उसको?
we will get to understand, or how we will choose, like, who from whom we will should get initiated?
From whom you should get initiated, that you have to choose, you have to select, you have to check that with whom you feel like, so much rejuvenated and so much of connection with, devotional service to practice, inspired to perform devotional service. So that person means mainly it is told by Swarup Goswami. You hear from different uh, speakers, Guru Janas, and the most prominent speaker, and most not speaker, most prominent Guru among those all Guru Janas, most prominent Guru from where you hear more, he only becomes your prospective Diksha Guru. Clear?
Yes, Prabhu. I appreciate.
Like that. It's today here and tomorrow you accept him as Diksha Guru. Okay?
Hare Krishna,
Back to
Prabhu.
best devotee. Yes, Prabhu. Please do.
Satchid Anand Krishna's corresponding to these three Krishna's three energies, Sandhini, Sambir, and Alladini. Srimati Radharani is the embodiment of Alladini Shakti, and
Yes, yes.
other two any
Samvit, Sandhini Shakti is Balram ji himself, expanding in different forms. And then there is sorry, Sandhini Shakti is Balram, and Samvit is Krishna himself, Vasudev. Means Krishna's potency of knowing everything, right? That is samvit, So samvit, we can say Vasudev. Through Vasudev feature, Krishna knows everything in this material world what's happening. And in spiritual, Krishna himself is there. Of course, there is quadruple expansion also. Sankarshan, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, and Pradumna. So Sankarshan acts like Sandhini, Vasudeva is Samvit, and of course, Srimati Radhika is Ahladini. So it goes like that. Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay, fine. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. We shall meet again.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Swarup Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanand.
Hari
Jai
Om.
Bol.